Hello everybody, and it's the second episode of Curly Convos. I'm Lora,
I'm Melody.
and we are here to have a spring chat together, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, when we were thinking about the idea of like having this conversation, we were like, first of all, let's change the setting. Let's have mics.
Yes.
Let's match a little bit in terms of the theme. And we were like, what's the theme then? And then Melody was like, spring is here, so maybe we should have some kind of a spring chat. And
Totally.
here's the second episode of
Yes.
spring conversation, and it's like curly combos. So how do you feel like?
Okay, so the reason why spring is such a big deal to me
Yeah.
this year is because, so having lived in LA for the last 10 years, we don't have a lot of varying seasons, right? And so every day sort of like meshes into the next, and I've never quite experienced the change of seasons before like this dramatically. And it was such a crazy transition from like snowing a few weeks ago to then all of a sudden like the next day it was spring, and I literally understood why it's important to experience different seasons, because I immediately felt lighter. Like I immediately felt like, oh my God, this is spring, and I was so excited to like change my wardrobe and just change my mood. You know, I think winter brings that like kind of heaviness. And I was trying my best not to let the snow and the gloomy weather get to me, but I'm so used to the sun with California, and I'm someone that used to literally like my mood would change with the weather. But I think like,
That's me.
yeah, exactly, right? It's like, it's normal for like your mood to change with the weather, but as I've been getting older, I've been trying to work on not allowing the weather to affect me, just because like you just never know what weather it's going to be, and you don't want to have to be dictated by outside like sources. So I've been trying to work on like, it's okay, like if it's gray, like just stay happy within. But the immediate change in my attitude and mood from like winter to spring this year in Armenia has been incredible. And I don't know if I've like worn such like airy girly things in a while, but it inspired me to like change my wardrobe.
Well, I
How do you feel?
understand all of those points. First of all, I've always thought about like moving to a place where I wouldn't notice the change, because for me, I would love to have the sun all year round. Like for me, the snow and everything, it's like, oh no,
Grass is always greener.
Yeah, it's like, let's just have sun.
Yeah.
Let's just have like a warm, weather where you can just drink some iced coffee and then walk with your friends and do all of that. Because like one day it's snowing and you're like bringing back all of your warm clothes, and then the other day it's like sunny and stuff, and you're like, is this really happening? And so even now we can't really feel safe, because people are like, oh yeah, so the forecast is saying that next week we're gonna have some rain.
Yeah.
In case you didn't
You gotta
know.
layer.
See, that's the thing. And for me, I was like, the weather impacts my mood so much that now when it's sunny, I'm like, I'm ready to do everything. I'm so motivated. I want to do everything actually, and
Totally.
and stuff. But then when it rains, I'm like, I'm melancholic. I'm sad.
Which is
I'm all
nice though, don't you think? Don't you think?
yeah.
Because like, again, coming from Los Angeles, where really I'm telling you, like it's so not varying. And I can see how if you come from a place that has 4 seasons, it's frustrating, because especially if you don't like the cold or if you don't like the extreme hot. But I'm telling you, it's so nice. It's been so nice for me to go through those emotions, because sometimes when the weather is always the same, you don't really have varying emotions
that
like
makes
that.
sense.
And so I don't know, like I can understand why someone like you who hasn't experienced all the time sun would want that. But as someone who lived in LA for the last 10 years and experienced that, I was like, I got over it. I'm like, I like that I have to pack away my clothes and bring in new clothes, and like it's like a ritual. It became a ritual. I mean, it's more annoying, obviously, having to pack things and bring things, and especially now, like you said, it's like one day it's warm, one day it's cold. Like you have to literally layer from morning to night for different weather. But I don't know, I'm enjoying the vibe that it brings, and I'm so excited that it's spring. I've never in my life been so excited that it's spring. I'm like, I could do cartwheels and flips if I could actually do them. Like I would do them, because I'm like, yes.
Why are you excited for spring? Let's start with that.
Okay, so obviously spring is a time of renewal, right? And so, I don't know, I've never been someone that, again, because I never experienced seasons the way that I'm doing now, I've never been someone that's like, okay, well now it's spring, let me think of this theme, but this year I feel like I'm because spring is a time of renewal. I almost feel like I want to take it as an opportunity to see how I can renew things in different areas of my life.
Ooh, I
Yeah,
love
so like,
that.
just things about myself, like what things are serving me, what should I continue to do, what things aren't serving me, what should I kind of stop doing. Even in terms of like wardrobe, like what are things as I'm getting older, like what are my signature things that I want to keep, what are things that are at this point not me anymore. So just kind of like thinking about how I could kind of become a better version of myself. Obviously, that's a theme that I want in my life in general, but I think spring is a good time to kind of do some cleaning of things, even just cleaning in terms of like my house and, what are things I can do without? What are things I can kind of bring in and like
Yeah.
kind of add excitement and stuff. So I don't know. That's kind of where I'm thinking. I haven't started quite yet, but I feel like that's kind of what I'm inspired to do. Yeah.
That's so true.
What about you?
Actually, I relate to a lot, and it's funny how we kind of match in terms of that, because I've always been very, very excited about spring because it's getting closer to summer and all of the sun and stuff, just like I mentioned before. But this year for me, it was like, it's crucial for a few different reasons. First of all, I started my master's in creative writing in spring.
In May, right? Yeah.
Yeah, in May. And so that's the first thing. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to start that and get going, because I feel like it was time already for me to finally start that. The second thing is that I try to use spring as a metaphor every single time. Like now I literally see trees like start a new life, everything like blossoms, and then I see a lot of the things where it's like lots of different stones and then something blossoms in between all of those stones, and I'm like, isn't that sweet? Isn't that how we work? I've been making those connections with nature a lot recently, and so I go for walks. Finally, for me, it's time to go for walks and think about things, because I know that I don't really like to do that in winter. I do it anyway because I can't stay home. But for me, spring is the time where I can actually go for a walk, enjoy the sun, drink my coffee, think, write. All of that for me is finally coming back to my favorite lifestyle, which for me is like the best, where I want to do a lot of things in a day, and for me that's also something that brings me a lot of joy when I know that I've been productive throughout the day. Sometimes I'm like, oh, my life is so active, like I need a slow day, and then when a slow day comes, I'm like, no, I'll just do this and that and this and that, and so I don't do it. And basically it's finally a time for me to bring back all of my emotions, where I actually feel happy just because it's sunny.
Just because it's spring.
And I love that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so since we're talking about renewal and spring being a time of taking some inventory in our lives, what are some things you want to sort of let go of? Like physical or spiritual, emotional, mental? Like what are some things that you want to kind of purge?
Yeah, a lot of them, because I want to be consistent with working out.
Okay.
Because it's been really hard for me to stay consistent when it was winter. Lots of obstacles when it's winter, and now that we're also getting closer to summer, and with every time like you associate having your dream body with summer, so basically spring is the time where you can actually start being more consistent and being more disciplined with that. That's that. At the same time, I think emotionally being okay with feeling things. Yesterday, I remember I told you about that the other day, I think, that sometimes like I don't, oh yeah, we've been talking about that a few days ago together, and where I was telling you that sometimes like in the active lifestyle, sometimes you don't want to feel things, because it's like if you let it all out, it's gonna be a mess. And with spring, I think I'll be okay with being more calm and processing those feelings and putting those feelings into writing. Because with winter, like the depressive period for me is kind of long, and like every single time it's like more negativity and sadness and stuff, and so I keep it all inside. And with spring, I think I'm gonna kind of open the doors slowly and put all of that into writing.
Love that.
And other than that, like I'll with spring, what I usually do, and already started doing that is making myself happy every single day. And it doesn't matter, like small or big things, like even buying myself coffee, even like meeting my friends, even just sitting on the bench and writing, or just like thinking.
Yeah.
That has been making
So important.
me
Little
so
joys.
happy. And I was like, I'll try to enjoy life as much as I can, as much as possible, because it's not like you have to wait for somebody to make you happy. That's not true.
No.
Like you have to make yourself happy. And because even if you don't do that, if you don't feel happy, I think the social relationships won't work either. So yeah.
Totally. And I think it's really risky to place your happiness in the hands of someone else.
Absolutely.
I think that a lot of the world and a lot of society and a lot of our culture places happiness in the hands of others. And I've just come to realize that it's so much more like empowering and also a lot stronger of a foundation when you are happy despite everything. And then it's like everything else that comes along is like a cherry on top. But and I think the way to kind of start that, like you said, is like, what are the things that bring you joy, and trying to do those things almost every single day, right? Like for me, this little iced coffee with this beautiful, or let me show it, beautiful little glass is joy. It's just, it's beauty, it's good,
Our chats,
it's pleasure,
for
our
me.
chats, flowers. Like you said, like Armenia has so many beautiful flowers. Like even when I just walk by the floral shops, even if I'm not gonna stop and buy it, like I will literally
always
just
take a picture.
or I'll just look. I'll literally just open my eyes and stop and smell the flowers. I won't stop and smell them, but I'll definitely like let my eyeballs like really process what I'm looking at. And so I agree. I think that, you know, happiness is something that is so within us. Everyone has the tools and literally we have everything as humans that we need to be happy. And unfortunately, the external circumstances of the world want to keep us in fear because it's just easier to control people when they're in fear, right? It's harder to control someone that is just literally living life the way that they authentically want to.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think for me, this spring, Armenia is gonna be something completely different than I've ever experienced in my life. I am someone that always wants
your
to
first time,
grow.
right?
I've been in spring, but this is my first time being here for this long and seeing the transition of seasons. And I'm just excited to, like you said, like kind of explore Yerevan again, because for me, summertime is A, too hot, and B, way too many tourists. I mean, it's really fun, of course. Like I'm having a lot of friends and family come this summer, and it's gonna be, I have my cousin's wedding. It's gonna be very fun. But I'm appreciating this in-between phase where it's like there's not that many tourists yet. The weather's nice enough to really explore. And I'm also just excited to explore Yerevan on my own. Like, I don't need a group of people. I don't need, like, I enjoy, of course, conversations with certain people in my life.
Yeah, for sure.
But in this phase in my life, I'm also just enjoying silence. I'm enjoying just doing nothing. Like you were saying, like for you, you're at that phase where you're kind of like, when you have too much time on your hands, you want to do things. And I used to feel that way as well. Now I'm kind of settling into this, like, okay, when I don't have anything to do, lean into that. Like it's okay to not do something, because I think
That's a huge thing.
yeah, because
I
I
need
think
to
that
learn.
we as humans think that if we're not doing something, we're being lazy. But my idea of not doing something is actually not lazy. It's intentionally not doing something. It's intentionally like calming my nervous system. It's intentionally going to a coffee shop by myself, reading a book, processing information, like looking at things around me, but not letting them affect me, right? So I think there's beauty in spending time with yourself and being so comfortable with your own company, despite the fact of what it looks like. And I think when I was younger, I used to worry like, oh, is it gonna look weird if I'm like by myself? Especially in Armenia, because I feel like a lot of people here are in pairs or in groups.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that, like, I'm like, oh, like, I'm the only one here by myself at a coffee shop, or like I'm the only one here walking by myself. But I think there's also, again, something empowering about loving your own company so much and not caring so much what other people think, that you're like, okay, like I'm enjoying myself.
But it has changed a lot too, right?
Tell me.
Yeah, it has changed a lot, because in the past with the older generation, like with the generation of our parents, it was a little different. And sometimes even like right now when they hear that I'm going out for a walk by myself, and they're like, what are you doing? Like, are you crazy or something like that?
Totally.
But at the same time, I think that it's slowly changing because the mentality of our generation is, yeah, sometimes I need to be alone, sometimes I need to think, and usually, like I said, our lives are a little. I don't want to use the word chaotic, but sometimes it's like it's really chaotic and it's really active and it's fast paced, and sometimes I need that silence because even job wise, with two of my jobs, I need to be active all the time. I need to speak a lot. I need to be like this active person, and sometimes like I need to be put on charge just like the phone. And sometimes like when I go for a walk, I either read a book or I try to write, I try to think, and all of those things. And even those 20 minutes are something that I need to do by myself because, and I wasn't like this before, by the way. In the past, like I would always want somebody to be with me, even when I go for walks and stuff, and I would always drag my sister to come with me, and she doesn't like to be out.
Got it.
And I'm like, okay, so like I was convincing her and doing all of that, but now I'm really enjoying that time because I plan things, I do something that I like, I think about things, I try to think of new ideas that I can do for my account or maybe that I can write about and stuff. And so that's that's also another way of being like productive to me, and that makes me really happy.
What do you think inspired you to start being able to do things on your own? Do you think it was like something outside of you, like social media maybe, or do you think it was just like your age, or?
I think it's both, like externally and internally. It kind of overlapped because of my lifestyle. I sometimes like I needed a time not to interact with somebody. I really love doing that. Don't get me wrong, but like I needed a time where I'm not. Upholding a conversation with somebody when I'm not actively listening, because you have to listen and engage and right. So I don't like being with people when I'm not in the mood and stuff like that, and I'm coming in, I'm being like this. I don't like that. I'm either in or I'm out. Like that's for me, and that's also like disrespectful when I'm not in the mood and I'm like forcing myself to have a conversation. That's not fun, and that's not even healthy either. So basically, the external world of being like always having this hectic work life, but at the same time internal change as well, I'm thinking, because sometimes I realize that I need that pause to just think about things. It sounds really like dramatic when I'm saying like I need a moment to think, but
how
I
else
actually
are you supposed to process emotions if you don't have time?
Sometimes I'm like, I feel like sometimes when throughout the work days or something happens to me and I'm like, I don't have the time to feel it. I'll just feel it for 5 minutes and then I'm done. And then a moment comes and it like boom, explosion, because I've been like putting it aside and not feeling it. And so sometimes like even with journaling, I started journaling this year, and it's like I can't do it consistently every single day. So I bought a small like thing which is called 1 line a day. So basically that makes me think about my whole day and put just 1 line a day. And that's also a moment where I take it for myself and I'm like, what am I going to write today? Like, what do I want to remember? What's something that made me feel something, either bad or good?
Love that.
So those things I think coincided and like overlapped together, and I was like, okay, I really need to take the time to go ahead and buy coffee and think about things and listen to music and just enjoy nature. I'm also into photography, so I go ahead, we have a park next to our yard, and I like go to that park, I take pictures of like the grass, the flowers and stuff, and that also makes me really happy. And I'm like, wow, nature is so beautiful. And so all of those things, I feel like those are creating like small, great, positive emotions in me. And that is bringing me to that healthy balance, and I guess that's where the need is coming from. Like, what about you?
Well, one thing I wanted to note about what you said is spring being a time of creativity.
Oh yeah.
Because as you were saying, taking photos and writing, all these things are such creative acts. And I feel like spring is a time where you could really embrace your creativity. And for everyone, it's different, right? Like for some people, it's journaling. For some people, it's photography. For some people, it's drawing. Like, but I think spring is a really good time to embrace creativity. On the topic of writing, because I'm a writer by trade, I've journaled in my life before and it's been very helpful, but in the past, I guess 6 months or whatever, I haven't really journaled, but you reminded me that it is something where sometimes you don't know what you're feeling truly until you start putting pen to paper. So I think that's something that speaking of things that I'm gonna like adopt, I think I'm gonna start kind of journaling again. Just about things that I'm like unsure about. There are certain topics in my life where there's certain things I'm very sure about and I'm very decisive. And then there's other parts of my life where I'm like, yeah, like, why are you not sure about this thing? And so I think it's really good when you're not sure about something to really put pen to paper, even if it's like a pro-con list, right? Just to be like, just to see things.
It can even be one line, that's the thing.
Yeah, even if it's just, because sometimes you don't know what you're thinking until you put that pen to paper. But yeah, I don't know, creativity inspires me so much. Just being able to express your soul's desire in a creative way, whatever that is. And I think everybody has creativity in them. I think even if your job isn't creative, even if you're an accountant or a lawyer or whatever, like there's creative ways to express yourself in your job or without. I think like spring is such a good time to do that. And I'm trying to think like, what else can I do? Yeah, I also, of course, like I'm not a professional photographer, but yes, I also enjoy like moments of like walking around and being like, oh, this is pretty. Like I want to remember this moment, And so I'm trying to think of like other ways, just even like the outfits thing we talked about. For me, like fashion's always been another way of creativity, right? Like a way of expressing yourself. And I think winter was cool in the sense that I liked kind of wearing the coats and wearing the thing, but like now I'm like, oh good, like now we can finally like wear some lighter colors. Like, my nails are yellow and I haven't done yellow in such a long time, but like I'm excited. Well, yours matches you, yeah. I'm excited to just, I don't know, kind of start getting into fashion again and kind of mixing colors and mixing prints and I just feel like it's been a while because winter kind of felt kind of long that I was just like black. And I'm excited to kind of test colors. And I don't know, I've always been someone, especially as Armenians, I think we're so drawn to black all the time.
I love black.
Yeah, it's so chic, right? But now I'm like, this is the first time in my life, like my phone case is pink, my purse is orange, my nails are yellow, like blue, like I haven't worn so many colors in a long time, but I think again, being in Armenia and seeing the change of seasons is inspiring me to like kind of experiment a little bit with different colors and stuff. So I'm excited to see like what other colors can I throw into my closet and really kind of see where it takes me. But yeah, I'm just excited for feeling creative and feeling like exuberant about life. I think.
Cute. Actually, speaking of fashion, I think that one of the reasons why I also prefer spring and don't really like winter is the fact that I like the spring clothes more than winter clothes. And like with curly hair, sometimes it's so cold that you have to wear a hat, and I hate wearing hats.
It does not go with curly hair. I know. I refuse.
It's terrible. And then when you just and when you let your curls out after that, it's like, oh my god.
I know.
It feels like you've been wearing a sleek bun over here, and then it's crazy.
I refused to wear a hat this winter, by the way. I just was like, this is my hat. My hair is my hat.
I know,
but it was getting so cold.
It was so cold, and I was like, screw that.
I know.
I was like, I'm gonna wear a hat, and then after that, I had to fluff it all out every single time, and then it got freezing, and I was like, now that it's the curly Convos, I think that I can be honest about the the curls problem.
I think curls go with spring for sure.
And also like the way that you look also sometimes not sometimes, like it does impact your mood, and so to feel confident and stuff, you have to feel, especially the hair. For me, the hair is like,
if the hair is not on point, the day is not on point. If the hair's not hairing,
then it's gonna be an obstacle.
Okay, so speaking of spring fashion, what are 3 keywords that you're gonna use to inspire your spring style?
Ooh, I would say girly.
Okay.
Because with spring, I always like wear stuff like pink and then skirts and stuff. If I say cute, is it the same?
No.
But also comfy.
Okay, girly cute, comfy. I like that. Okay.
Because I also like wearing shorts and stuff when it gets a little warmer.
Warmer.
Yeah, I also like wearing shorts, but also if you pair it with a cute top, it feels like you're comfy, but also you're like looking cute, and it's also like all of the girly things paired with the accessories and stuff, and also with the hairstyles. If you do a little bit of like ponytails or something like that, half a ponytail and stuff. Yeah.
Very you.
What about you?
Very
what about you?
Okay, so for me, I would say flirty.
Ooh, I love that.
Edgy. Flirty, edgy, and minimalist. I don't, generally speaking, I don't
Actually,
like to be too maximal in anything. I always like to have an air of minimalist in me. So I think a combination of all three, but the flirty has to be in there because spring. Yeah, I think winter, there was no flirtiness. Winter,
no, it's just
zero flirt factor.
Cool. You're like,
Yeah, it's like the turtlenecks and but yeah, this is, flirty.
Oh, yeah.
But I always like to have a little bit of edginess, like something a little subversive,
intrigue.
something like a girly thing paired with something a little edgier. I think I always like the dichotomy of like masculine and feminine. Nothing too girly. I always like to kind of balance it with a little bit of like edge.
Yeah, and I like actually the balance of like cute and flirty.
Cute.
There's a
yes.
beautiful, I think you're that. You're the perfect balance of that.
Yeah.
I would say. Don't you think?
Thank you.
You're like, yeah.
I'll take it.
There's actually a question that I saw a few days ago about spring. Let me see if I can find it. I actually wanted to.
Okay.
Let's see if I can find it. If I find it, we can talk about that too.
I love your necklace, by the way.
Really? Thank
Very
you.
pretty.
Thank you. Yeah, again, like a little minimalistic, dainty.
Should we go shopping after this?
We have to. We have to, and then be like, oh, and this is what we thought. No, I think the questions are. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me ask. And I was talking to ChatGPT
Nice.
about that. I was like, wow, can you? Oh yeah. Hold on. I found it. If your life were a garden, what would you be cultivating right now?
Wow.
Imagine like you're planting flowers, and those can be like metaphors for the things that you are.
Wow.
Isn't that a great
That
question?
is a great question.
I loved it.
If my life was a garden, what would I be cultivating right now? I would be cultivating a lot of colorful flowers, a lot of color everywhere, because I just feel very colorful in Armenia. I feel more colorful in Armenia in my soul than I felt in a long time. And then also on the side, I would have a little veggie garden because I love veggies. I would have cucumbers, cilantro. I would have loliks. I would have like a little veggie because I'm obsessed with veggies. I'm not a vegetarian. I'm pretty much a vegetarian. Like 90% of the time I'm eating veggie. So like just a field of colorful flowers and like some veggies to like munch on.
Do you wanna pair those with emotions or like
yes?
thoughts?
So I think again the flowers being just feeling like very colorful. I just feel very content being in Armenia. It's set my soul on fire. For a while in America, I was feeling a little bit like a robotic life, and I think Armenia has reinvigorated my soul. So the colors of all the emotions. Oh, and by the way, that's a good thing. That's a good thing because Armenia has also brought out a lot of different emotions in me. I think in LA I was feeling kind of maybe one or two emotions, whereas in Armenia
pretty emotional.
I can go from angry to annoyed to happy to excited to this to that. It's like all the gamut. So that
we have a huge range of emotions here in Armenia.
Totally.
Armenians are pretty emotional.
Exactly. And it's allowed me to be more emotional than I was in America. And then the veggies is just like health.
Ooh,
like I'm so obsessed with just having a healthy lifestyle, gym, eating well. Of course, sometimes in Armenia it's hard on the weekends, with the drinks and the this and the that. So I'm trying to find that balance of really eating healthy and like putting good fuel in my body so that I can continue to be healthy and happy, because health has so much to do with happiness. If you're not feeling well, forget about everything else.
You have no energy basically to do anything.
Yeah. Okay, what about you?
So
what
it's
does your
funny
garden
how
look
I
like?
was gonna say, like, I forgot about the veggies and stuff. So That's an
okay.
obvious thing for me because I'm not really into veggies. Like I
That's
eat
okay.
veggies just because
it's
have
your
to,
garden,
but
honey.
yeah. So my garden was gonna be like lots of colorful flowers, just like you said. That's the first thing that I imagined. Like with flowers, when I'm buying flowers, I'm usually a little bit of like pastel colors or something like that. But now that I was imagining, it was like a huge like color palette of
Nice.
different flowers. Like I would be planting a little bit of like poetry in terms of like the light like baby pink flowers.
Okay.
Also like white flowers in terms of like understanding myself, also accepting myself, a little bit of like self-love as well. And then there's also the red ones, which is about being like fiery, being confident,
Aries.
being the Aries person I
Had to
am.
throw in the astrology there.
Yeah, a little bit of like, I don't know, yellow to be like enjoying the sun, enjoying the weather, enjoying life in general, and a little bit of, and also blue obviously because I love the sky and I love clouds, and for that, and just being a little calm, you know, with even if it's crazy sometimes, like taking a moment and being calm and being just
Love it.
you know, enjoying the relaxing part, because you say that like you're intentionally being lazy, and I consider myself lazy when I'm not doing anything. So basically accepting that part as well, and lots of different other like flowers like that, of being like creative, being dreamy, being that and a lot of new things, like looking for new things, new ideas and stuff. And
Love that. Love that.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that. I feel like we had a really fun spring chat.
yeah,
I
I loved it.
It was very inspiring. And now I want to go buy flowers.
And now I want to
and
go
a,
do
and a cute top.
And by the way, yeah, I agree on the
BRB,
cute top
let's go
part.
shopping.
And with my sister before coming here, we bought flowers, so I think
Nice.
I'm gonna take that out
Nice. Perfect.
for today. But like, I feel so energized now after our chat. I'm like,
Me
"Ooh,
too.
what should I do next?
Yay.
What's another dream that I can accomplish?" But this again, like even this chat made me so happy,
Me
and
too,
I can't wait
darling. Me
to
too.
share it. Can I give you a hug?
Yeah.
And I think and please just answer these questions below, because we would love
Yes.
to
We want to
know,
hear from everyone else
yeah,
too.
what spring means to you. What are you looking forward to? What are your plans? What are your dreams?
What would your garden look like?
Oh yeah. That's the best thing I think to write about. So, and I hope you look forward to our next episode, because I know I am looking forward to our
me too.
next episode. And we will see you in the next episode very soon. Bye bye.